by saying I think it's unfortunate where we find ourselves right now, both from the team standpoint and the players. I mean, we're coming off tremendous momentum in the WNBA. It's not lost on anyone.
And that is the scariest line that we have heard. We are coming off tremendous momentum. And basically,
where we find ourselves right now, both from the team standpoint and the players. I mean, we're coming off tremendous momentum in the WNBA. It's not lost on anyone.
That right there should terrify every WNBA fan. Adam Silver just said the quiet part out loud. We're coming off tremendous momentum in the WNBA. It's not lost on anyone. Past tense. Coming off momentum. Not building momentum, not riding momentum, coming off it. Like it's already slipping away. And here's what makes that statement so dangerous. Silver knows exactly what he's doing with those words. This isn't a commissioner hyping up his league. This is a warning shot. Because if this CBA negotiation fails, and the 2027 season gets delayed or canceled, that momentum he's talking about, it doesn't just pause, it dies.
From Yahoo.
Movement. I'm not ready to set a drop dead date, but I will say, you know, as I look at the calendar and the amount that we need to get done, really over the next 2 months, because training camps are scheduled to open roughly 2 months from now. To your point, we have to get not 1 but 2 drafts done. We have an expansion draft and a collegiate draft, and then we need to fit in free agency. Plus,
also, what the fuck is the collegiate draft? Like, what is the collegiate draft? That is not a thing. What the fuck is the collegiate draft?
Now we're getting to the real problem. Training camps are scheduled to open in roughly 2 months from that interview. They need to complete an expansion draft for the Golden State Valkyries. They need to run the collegiate draft, which, by the way, might be the most important draft in WNBA history, with international prospects like Sarah Popa, who turned down a scholarship to UConn to play professionally in Spain, and is now starting against Team USA. But none of that can happen without a CBA. Free agency is frozen. Teams can't make moves. Players can't plan their futures. And every day that passes without a deal is another day closer to the point of no return.
And the lawyers have to go to work and memorialize it. So if what I'd love to accomplish is sort of putting pressure on everybody and say, okay, you know, I've been through so many cycles of collective bargaining, and often things tend to get done at the 11th hour. We're getting awfully close to the 11th hour now when it comes to bargaining. I'm encouraged there has been more back and forth over the past few weeks. I think there's been, you know, more direct engagement from players and team owners. I have not been at the table, but I'm very involved behind the scenes.
Listen to how Silver frames this. He's not setting a hard deadline, but he's making it clear that the calendar is becoming the enemy. The lawyers need time to memorialize any agreement once it's reached. That's not a quick process. We're talking weeks, not days. And notice what he says about collective bargaining. Things tend to get done at the 11th hour. That's true. But here's what he's not saying. Sometimes they don't get done at all. Sometimes you get lockouts, work stoppages, canceled seasons. The NBA has been through it. The NHL lost an entire season in
I want to play whatever role would be most productive in getting a deal done. But again, I think we need to now move towards the next level sense of urgency and not lose momentum in terms of the amazing amount of progress we've seen.
So there has been movement. More back and forth over the past few weeks. More direct engagement between players and team owners. That sounds positive on the surface. But here's the problem. The WNBA Players Association has been the one holding up their end of negotiations. According to multiple reports, the league sent over a proposal and the WNBA waited 6 weeks before responding. And when they did respond, they essentially sent back the same proposal they'd already submitted. That's not negotiating, that's stalling. And it's creating a situation where even the optimistic timeline is getting dangerously tight.
It is ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous nowadays when it comes down to it with the WNBPA. But what Adam Silver's saying, basically like, oh, look, you know, we don't want to stop momentum. And I think everybody who has a brain knows that if you stop the momentum, you may as well cancel the league.
Here's where Silver's language gets really interesting. He hasn't been at the negotiating table directly, but he's very involved behind the scenes. He wants to play whatever role would be most productive in getting a deal done. That's diplomatic speak for, I'm trying to let both sides work this out, but I'm ready to step in if necessary. And the fact that he's publicly saying this tells you how concerned the league office actually is. Because Adam Silver is a players commissioner when it comes to the NBA. He's built his entire reputation on having strong relationships with NBA players, on being progressive, on listening to player concerns. But here's the thing. He's an NBA players commissioner, not a WNBA players commissioner. When push comes to shove, his loyalty is to the NBA owners who actually pay his salary. And those owners are getting tired of subsidizing a league that's now demanding more money while refusing to compromise.
Because let's just say hypothetically, if the momentum stops, not only are the owners going to be unwilling to meet the players' revenue demands for 15% of gross revenue, the odds are that if they come back to the board about making a 2027 WNBA season, the odds are that those 1.1 million contracts evaporate. The odds are the owners are going to give them a worse deal than they're currently getting, because the owners have spent probably collectively about 100 million running teams.
And there it is again. Not lose momentum in terms of the amazing amount of progress we've seen. He's hammering this point because it's the core issue. Think about what the WNBA just experienced. Record attendance across the board. Caitlin Clark's rookie season brought unprecedented media attention. TV ratings that nobody thought were possible for women's basketball. Corporate sponsors actually fighting for partnerships instead of the league begging for them. The Golden State Valkyries expansion franchise selling out season tickets before playing a single game. This was the breakthrough season. The moment the league had been building toward for 26 years. And now, at the exact moment when they should be capitalizing on that momentum, everything is frozen because the CBA negotiations are stuck.
So they're probably going to get that. Should cut 100% WNBA of the NBA support. The thing is, if you cut 100% of the NBA support, then the NBA won't do that anymore, because the NBA basically, they want to make their money back. Maybe they could come to some sort of an agreement that that if they have it on record what the NBA has put in to the WNBA, what these NBA teams, what the WNBA owes the NBA, and if they look to pay it back over a certain amount of years, if they, I don't know, maybe they buy back their shares at a certain price that we're paying X amount per year, they could do that. But it would take something like that, and it would take the owners, who, by the way, there are certain NBA owners, Jim Dolan, who by all accounts would rather burn down the WNBA than even make a profit.
Let's talk about what's actually being negotiated here, because the details matter. The WNBPA is asking for 50% of revenue sharing. That's the same split that NBA players get. On the surface, that sounds fair. Equal pay for equal work, right? But here's the reality. The WNBA still isn't profitable. According to the most recent financial disclosures, the league has lost money every single year of its existence. The NBA has been subsidizing operations to the tune of tens of millions of dollars annually. Some estimates put the total subsidy over the league's history at over $200 million. Now the players' argument is that you can't judge the WNBA's profitability fairly when the NBA controls all the financial decisions, sets the TV deals, and takes a cut of everything. That's a legitimate point. There's definitely an argument that the WNBA has been undervalued and undermarketed for years. But here's where it gets complicated. The owners, many of whom also own NBA teams, have spent the last year preparing for the 2027 season. They've booked arenas. They've hired staff. They've made financial commitments totaling somewhere around $100 million collectively. And they did all of that expecting to operate under the existing CBA structure. If the season gets delayed or canceled, they don't get that money back. It's just gone. And the NBA's willingness to continue subsidizing the league, that goes away too.
It's one of those things that that there are NBA owners that legitimately don't want the league to exist, which isn't ideal. So, didn't they go 6 weeks without responding to the players' proposals? I mean, the players responded with the same proposal. If the league gives a proposal and the players respond with the same proposal.
The collegiate draft comment is fascinating because it reveals how disconnected the rhetoric is from reality. The WNBA draft has always pulled from college basketball. But now you've got elite international prospects who are skipping college entirely to play professionally overseas. Sarah Popa turned down UConn, the most prestigious program in women's college basketball, to play for Valencia in Spain. And she's not some project player. She's 19 years old and starting at center against Team USA in international competition. That's the level of talent that's now available in this draft. But none of these prospects can plan their futures without knowing if there's going to be a season. Agents can't advise their clients. International clubs are offering contracts with real money right now, and the WNBA can't even tell these players when the draft will happen.
I've ever heard. Like, genuinely some of the dumbest shit I've ever heard. But, yeah, it is. At the end of the day, Adam Silver is a players commissioner, just not a WNBA players commissioner. I think it's going to be one of those things where he's going to, like, the NBA and Adam Silver is just going to be like, you know what? Fuck it. Fuck it. Like, if the league, if it goes, it goes. And I actually think we're at the stage where the NBA owners are like, you know, we're actually sick of this shit. It's like, yeah, you know, we funded this league for X amount of years and made these big losses, and now we might make our money back, and the players are trying to make sure we won't ever make our money back. Like, that realistically is what the owners are, and yeah, it is what it is. So anyway, yeah, that is the video.
So let's game this out. What actually happens if they don't reach a deal in time? Best case scenario, they push the season back a few weeks, start in June instead of May, and everything proceeds mostly as planned. The momentum takes a small hit, but it's recoverable. Fans are annoyed but understanding. The media coverage continues. Realistic scenario, the season gets pushed to July or August. Now you're competing directly with the Olympics, with NFL training camps starting to dominate sports media, with the end of summer when people are traveling and kids are going back to school. Your TV ratings take a significant hit. Casual fans who were just starting to pay attention lose interest. Corporate sponsors start asking questions about whether their investment is worth it. Worst case scenario, the entire season gets canceled. And this is where it gets really dark, because a canceled season doesn't just mean lost revenue for 1 year. It means the death of all that momentum Silver keeps talking about. Caitlin Clark's rookie season brought in millions of new fans who had never watched the WNBA before. Those fans showed up for her, and many of them stuck around for the product. But casual fans have short attention spans. If there's no season in 2027, they're not sitting around waiting for 2028. They move on. They forget. And when the league does come back, it's starting from scratch trying to rebuild that audience. The corporate sponsors who finally started taking the WNBA seriously, they've got other places to spend their marketing budgets. If the league can't deliver a product, those sponsors aren't going to wait around. They'll move their money to women's soccer, to college sports, to whatever else is actually happening. And the owners who've been subsidizing this league for years, their patience runs out. Because here's the thing, there are NBA owners who genuinely don't want the WNBA to exist. Jim Dolan, owner of the New York Knicks and Liberty, has made it clear through his actions that he'd rather burn the Liberty down than see it succeed. He's not alone. There are owners who view the WNBA as a charity project at best and a financial drain at worst. If the season gets canceled, those owners have all the ammunition they need to argue for shutting down the league entirely. We tried, they'll say, we invested hundreds of millions of dollars over decades. We gave them a chance to capitalize on unprecedented momentum, and the players chose to blow it up over contract negotiations. We're done.
Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. It comes down to burning down the league. This is not a case of, okay, yeah, will we figure something out? Because, like, look, if the season starts in June, then that's okay. But the season's not going to start in July and August. It's just not. So the season might start in June. They might use that as a little bit of leverage and get something that they want. But the reality is that this is one of the most high stakes games of chicken we've seen in a long time, because it's pretty much a case where if
Now here's what makes this situation so frustrating. Both sides have legitimate grievances, but neither side seems willing to acknowledge the reality of their negotiating position. The players are absolutely right that they've been underpaid for years. The average WNBA salary is around $120,000. The maximum salary under the current CBA is around $240,000. Meanwhile, rookies in the NBA make millions. The disparity is massive, and it's not reflective of the value these players bring to their league. The players are also right that the WNBA has been undermarketed and undervalued. The TV deals have been terrible. The league has been treated as an afterthought by ESPN and other broadcasters. The scheduling has been a mess, with games buried on streaming platforms that casual fans don't have access to. There's a legitimate argument that if the WNBA had been given the same promotional resources as other leagues, it would be profitable by now. But here's where the player's position falls apart. Demanding 50% revenue sharing when the league isn't profitable is asking the owners to take on unlimited financial risk. If the league loses $20 million in a season, are the players willing to take a $20 million pay cut? Of course not. They want 50% of revenue when things are good, but they're not offering to share 50% of the losses when things are bad. And the timing of these demands couldn't be worse. The league just had its best season ever. The momentum is real. This is the moment when everyone should be working together to capitalize on that success, to lock in new TV deals, to expand the fan base, to build on what Caitlin Clark's rookie year started. Instead, the negotiations are stuck because the WNBPA is treating this like a zero-sum game. They're acting like the owners are sitting on massive profits and refusing to share them, when the reality is that most WNBA teams are still losing money even after the record-breaking 2026 season.
Like, if there's no solution, the league dies, and I don't think either side wants that, but I don't think either side can afford that either. So anyway, that's the video. I'll see you guys.
The comparison to the NBA is inevitable, but it's also misleading. Yes, NBA players get 50% revenue sharing, but the NBA generates over $10 billion in annual revenue. The players getting 50% of that means they're splitting $5 billion. The owners are making $5 billion. Everyone's getting rich. The WNBA generates somewhere around $200 million in annual revenue, and that's after the record-breaking 2026 season. If the players get 50% of that, they're splitting $100 million across 144 roster spots. That's about $700,000 per player on average, which sounds great until you remember that the league is losing money overall. So the owners would be paying out $100 million to players, while also covering another $50 to $100 million in operating losses. That's not sustainable. At some point, the owners just walk away, and then there's no league at all. Here's what nobody wants to say out loud. The WNBA might not survive this negotiation. That sounds dramatic, but look at the facts. The league has never been profitable. It's entirely dependent on NBA subsidies to exist. The owners are tired of losing money year after year. The players are demanding a massive increase in compensation at exactly the moment when the league can least afford it. And the clock is ticking toward a point where the 2027 season becomes logistically impossible to pull off. Adam Silver knows all of this. That's why his language in that interview is so careful, so measured. He's trying to apply pressure without making threats. He's trying to push both sides toward a deal without explicitly saying what happens if they don't reach one. But the subtext is clear. If this negotiation fails, the WNBA as we know it is done. Maybe it comes back in some diminished form in Maybe the NBA decides to cut its losses and shut it down entirely. Maybe a few teams continue as independent operations while the rest fold. But the league that was building momentum, that was finally breaking through to mainstream audiences, that was on the verge of becoming sustainable, that league dies if the 2027 season doesn't happen. And here's the most frustrating part. This is completely avoidable. Both sides want the league to succeed. The players want to make more money and be valued appropriately. The owners want to see their investment pay off and stop losing money every year. Those goals aren't mutually exclusive, but it requires both sides to be realistic about where the league actually is right now. The WNBA is not the NBA. It's not generating billions in revenue. It's not profitable yet, but it's closer than it's ever been, and the trajectory is pointing in the right direction. The smart play is to structure a CBA that rewards players as the league grows. Tie compensation to revenue targets. If the league hits certain profitability milestones, the players get a bigger cut. If the league continues to lose money, everyone tightens their belts and keeps building. That's how you protect the momentum while acknowledging the financial reality. That's how you get both sides invested in the league's success, instead of fighting over a pie that doesn't exist yet. But that requires trust. It requires the players to believe that the owners will actually share the profits if the league becomes successful. And it requires the owners to believe that the players will prioritize the league's long-term health over short-term salary demands. Right now, that trust doesn't exist. And without it, we're headed for a disaster that nobody wants but that both sides seem determined to create. So here's the question. Who blinks first? Do the players back down from their 50% demand and accept a graduated revenue share that grows as the league grows? Do the owners commit to real financial transparency and prove that they're not hiding profits? Does Adam Silver step in and force both sides to accept a compromise? Or do we watch the WNBA's best chance at sustainability collapse because neither side was willing to meet in the middle? Because that's where we're headed right now. And once that momentum is gone, it's not coming back. What do you think happens next? Are the players right to hold firm on their demands, or are they risking everything by refusing to compromise? Let me know in the comments, and make sure you're subscribed because this story is far from over.